All right. I think, I think, I think I can be heard. Is it blurry? Hello. I think I could be seen and heard. It's a bit blurry. I don't know why. Blurry. Not blurry. What up, Taylor? Taylor, clap. Oh, Erica found service. What up, Noah? Oh, cool. Everyone's hopping on here. Hi, Katie. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Erica. Hi, Erica. Hi, Erica. Hi, Erica. Hi, Gigi. Everybody's here. All right, cool. So it is the audio probably might sound different today because I didn't plug in my other um, my other recorder. Oh man, my brain. I'm tired, guys. I gotta wake up my brain. Wake up my brain. Wake up my brain. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, Riley. What's up, Juliet? All right, guys. Microphone. That's the word. The word, bird is a word. My microphone is not on. Microphone is not on. It's the laptop's microphone that's on. Like this guy says. I do so much free advertisement for things. How are you guys doing? How's life? How are the kids? What's going on? Let me see in the chat. Okay, so we need the chat going. Keep the chat going. I have to stand up and get water because I was with my team and I realized I haven't drank water all day. So I need to get water. I need water. I'll be right back. Yeah, GG the kids, you know. We gonna get some water today. Hey, hey, hey. Gonna get some water today. I got some water today. All right, I'm back. Where's my water? All right. All right. I'm back. Hi, McKenna. All right, now we're going to read the comments. This is the time of the section time where we're going to read the comments. Hydrate, hydrate. That's good water. All right, I'm going crazy, guys. Yeah, we did some pop-up graduations, which was super fun. We saw a lot of you guys. You guys saw Noah on here. Oh, we did see Noah. We saw that Noah. We saw Noah and Gigi. Excuse me, burping all over the place. Nice. So glad you guys are here. I know it was great. See, Erica rolled with us on Wednesday. She was rolling around town with us. It was a blast. Riley's famous. Riley was on TV, everyone. But me, it was all about the Riley. It's Rye time. Rye time. It was all about you, girl. Proud of you for doing that because you didn't have to, but you did, which was great. You guys. Whoa, McKenna's. Oh, that's right. Where did you go, McKenna? I forgot. You went on vacation, which I think is super awesome. I'm sorry, I'm going to drink some more. I got weird. I don't know why I did that. Oh. Alabama, where the wind comes rolling down the plain. That is Oklahoma, not Alabama. But I don't know Alabama's song. Alabama, Alabama, Alabama. Now let's spell Alabama. A to the L to the A to the B to the A to the M to the A. What is A to the L to the A to the M to the B to the B? She's in Alabama. Kellen's going crazy here. Yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Going out there to be there. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. All right. You guys, tomorrow's Memorial Day, and I'm tired. I'm trying to focus. Focus right here. Tomorrow's Memorial Day, and we know Gigi. That is, I appreciate your encouragement, but I cannot sing. Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing. Driving. Oh, don't. I am not focused, you guys, and it's okay. I'm driving to Utah, a 9-hour drive on June 20th. Let's sing the song about Utah. Utah, very, very tall. It's a Utah, Utah, not me tall. U to the A to the A to the H to the H. Utah, U to the T to the A to the H. I got the T the first time. Utah is the place where the wind comes rolling down the plain. Utah. Ha, 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 ha. Juggle, 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 juggle. Ha, 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 ha. Bum, bum, ba, 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 dun, dun, dun. And scene. It's called acting. See that? Not real. I hope someone's showing it. 2 people left watching this, and I think that's amazing. My goal is to get everyone to leave this stream. What is happening? Okay, I'll tell you what's happening. You get married in 5 days. Big old hand. 5 days, people. 5 days to get married. What is happening? Or 4 days, 6 days. Friday. 5 days? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I guess that's 6, but today's almost done. But we would be done with the weddings now, so I guess I'm going to say 6. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I accept this award on behalf of all the lemonade stands out there. 5 days, y'all. This is exciting. Which means, this is just a quick announcement, which means Wednesday, we are still going to have Zoom. Zoom. We're still going to have Zoom, but the one, the only, the awesome, talented Dr. Strange of our team, Taylor Londigan, is going to lead Zoom call on Wednesday. So Wednesday, we're still going. It's still happening on Zoom. Tay is going to run that, which is great. Ooh, it's a good movie. Dr. Strange. So she can run that. And then next, did I say Londigan? It's Londigan. You know why? I haven't remembered her last name is Kubel yet. Even in my phone, I'll be like, hey Siri, call Taylor.
Go ahead.
Call Taylor Londigan.
Calling Taylor Kubel, mobile.
See, my phone has to correct me. Don't pick up, Taylor. My phone has to correct me because I keep saying Londigan. So, leading Zoom, you know what that means? Games for the entire. Oh, Taylor's called me back. Hello? What?
You called?
Oh, I called. You got to keep watching the live stream.
I'm watching you. I'm messing with you.
That's as close as you're going to get Taylor on YouTube. She will not live stream. But yeah, so Wednesday, you guys, what was I talking about? Oh, you don't dance? I mean, boo. But I'm glad you can be there because Taylor's going to run in. They're probably going to do games the whole time, which is totally fun. It did sound really bad. So sorry. Lo siento para mi loco en la cabeza. Okay, so I think that was sort of Spanish. Wedding, that's right. Wedding in 5 days. So Wednesday, Zoom call. Taylor is going to, I know it did. It was really bad. Taylor's going to lead that. Another person left, which is awesome. My goal is to get everyone to leave this stream. And then Sunday, we will have a message. So you guys tune in here Sunday next week. All right, so enough of that. That stuff's boring. This is what we're going to do tonight. Juliet, super sad the season is over. Yes, we are bummed too, but we hope that you, ma'am, learned a bunch about yourself and how you need to be consistent in your development because you are going to grow as a dancer, you and all your friends. So get Brooklyn, who apparently is a part of your dance thing. Get her to come to Zoom too. Zoom. It's going to be amazing. So with that said, can't wait to see you guys there. McKenna, be safe. Everyone be safe, okay? Now we're going to focus on tonight's thing, okay? Focus, everyone, especially you, Gigi. Focus, Gigi. Focus. Kellen, focus. You can call me Ford because I'm going to be so focused right now. Here we go. Dab. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We are going to focus. I almost said a joke. We got to focus. All right. Focus. Thank you. Ford one was thank you, Gigi, for agreeing. The Ford focus was a great joke. Okay. Focus. Who can say where the road goes? Focus. Okay. So last week we talked about, okay, one more thing before I get into this. How many of you guys like Avatar, The Last Airbender? You guys been watching it? It's on Netflix. Anyone like it? Show of hands. It focused, Gigi. Okay, she's yelling at me. She's telling me to focus. Sorry, oh Gigi, I'm sorry, Gigi. Oh, okay. So with that said, Last Airbender. Anybody like it? Show of hands. Let me see. Show of hands. It's a fake hand. See, I picked it up off the ground. This is my real hand here. I'm gonna pick up a fake one. There we go. What is Avatar? Still here. Haven't watched it? Wow. Looks like we're going to have to do a watch party. Let's put it on the back. Site can't do that. YouTube will take us down. Okay. Noah, boom. Good job. Me and Noah right here. Focus. Here we go. Enough with Avatar talk. Gigi, you're distracting us. No more Avatar talk. Okay, here we go. We're going to talk tonight. It's going to be super simple. Actually, it's going to be more interactive because I want to hear from you guys. So last week we talked about obedience. And we talked about how God may call us to action before we feel ready, or we talked about how when we physically do something for God, it will lead the spiritual part. And then also we talked about not underestimating who God will reach because of us obeying God. So with that said, if you are ready to engage tonight, I need you guys in the comments or the chat to give me a thumbs up emoji. I need to see all the thumbs up emojis or the hand emojis or the cat in a box emojis. And where's Blake's? We're going to count on the box. Cat in the box. Okay, so with that said, we got some thumbs up. I dig it. Okay, we got one thumbs up. I think other people are looking for the thumbs up button. We got a cat in a box. We got a hashtag where's Blake, hashtag where's Alyssa. We got another cat in the box. This is good stuff. People. Hashtag where's Blake, hashtag where's Brianna. Another thumbs up. Yeah, where are these people? Why am I whispering all of a sudden? I don't know. Taylor gave me a thumbs up. I like it. Good stuff. Oh, we got another cat in the box. We got a hand. This is good. You guys are focusing up here. All right, this is good stuff. Dr. Strange. All right, cool. Morgan's here. Hello, Morgan. Now it's time to break our focus for this dance for Morgan. Morgan, 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 Morgan. All right. Yeah, you can change your skin tone so it can look like whichever color you are happen to be. All right. With that said, we're going to focus up. All right. So we talked about obedience last week, and today's the day where I want you guys to chit chat with me. So I want you guys to prep right now. I'm going to talk for a bit to recap you guys, but I want questions. I want you guys to throw out some questions that maybe you had about last week's message. So if you took your notes, take your notes out and go through your notes again. I want 1 or 2 questions, 3 or 4 questions, 12 or 17 questions. Focus. That's a good emoji. It's me focusing. Focus. If I do this. Oh, yes. Oh. What if I did my hair like this? Hey guys, look at me. I'm hip. Okay, focus. Yeah, I want you guys to ask me some questions about the message last week. And it can be about anything when it comes to obedience. It could be anything. It could be anything. Oh, it could be anything that we talked about last week. When it comes to obeying God and what that looks like in our lives, whether it's something simple where it's like, hey, I don't know how to obey God. What does that look like? 2, plain. 2, what does God want me to obey? 2, what happens when I obey God? Whatever it may be, I want to hear you guys' questions. I'm going to drink the last of my water and read. Literally takes 1 emoji. It's true. Just air it out. Air is not the same as regular water. Okay, first question. I'm smiling because I thought of a joke when I saw the question, and I'm going to focus. I'm not going to make a joke. I'm going to focus and answer the question. I liked what you said about the physical sets up the spiritual. Can you tell us more about that? Yes, I could. Next question. Just kidding, babe. I would never dismiss your questions ever. So with that said, yeah, physical sets up the spiritual. I have it right here. Okay, so no, McKenna, your phone's gonna die. Save it, plug it in. So the idea of the physical sets up the spiritual, meaning this. A lot of the times when we see an example, like if someone's sick or someone's hurt, we often go to praying. The first act of praying is doing something physical. It's obviously making the decision. It's making the decision. But then it's physically, audibly saying, in the Bible, talks about power in the name of Jesus, and he gives us power. And when we say, Jesus, like when we say Jesus, there is power in that name. When Jesus says, I am, when he's about to get arrested in the garden, the guy falls back because they fall down because the term I am was like the purest, like it's God. It is. Because there's power in God's name. And when we have been given God's power, whenever I say power now, I just think of like Captain America. But when Jesus gave us, the ability to heal by, claiming his name and by all that stuff, when we physically go to talk, when we physically say and use the name of Jesus, something spiritual then takes place. A supernatural thing will take place. There is power, like in the Bible, when the enemy was tempting them and quoting scripture, but then not just quoting scripture, but identifying the truth and who God is. There is power that will stop the enemy from stepping further into your mind, into your heart, into whatever entity you want to talk about there. And Pastor Chris talked about this morning how the enemy tends to twist the truth and pulls us away from what we know God has for us. And when we audibly move towards God, reading His Word, praying, spiritual things begin to take place. And so a lot of us, we're lazy, and so we don't pray, or we're nervous. And so our physical, when we physically go out there and do stuff. Oh, and also just simple stuff. If you have friends that just need encouragement, when you physically get up and go encourage them and talk to them and pray for them, a spiritual thing begins to happen, because we also talked about people being able to see God's glory. And who knows, in that moment of you calling your friend, texting your friend, encouraging your friend, they were on the verge of something. Not saying we're people's saviors, but rather we point people to the Savior, who is Jesus. So us physically going out there and saying or doing or leading people towards who God is, something spiritual could happen in their life, which is awesome. So that was I was getting to the answer. That was my answer. Sorry, I'm reading. Taylor had a question. Has there been a time in your life when you felt like you should obey God when you were scared? All the time. Biggest one was when I went to. I see your question, Katie, and I will answer that in a second. Has there been a time in my life when I felt like I should? Yes. School. When I went to college. Now, you guys may not be able to relate to this one, but I was choosing a college, and I went out to Texas, and I just checked out of school. Note, I've never been to Texas before. Note, I had no family in Texas. Note, I knew nothing about Texas prior to me living there. Nothing about it. Went out there, and I felt God was moving me towards. When I say felt, I mean I felt Him. I didn't hear Him go, Kellen, go to this school, but I felt Him saying, this is the school you want to go to. Why? I just felt like the place to go. Was I super scared? Yes, because I didn't have money. I didn't know people out there. I didn't know what college was going to look like. My mom was moving to the East Coast, so there was a whole slew of things that I kind of wanted to just stay in California, but I didn't do that because I really felt like God was leading me there. It all worked out wonderfully. It was a great experience, but my first week in school, my first night at school, I cried. Like, I was 18-year-old, I cried in my bed because I felt scared and lonely and didn't know what to do. But the next couple days, I met several people who would become my best friends at that school. And so super scared. Now, the plus of that is the education I got out there, and the friends and stuff I met. It turned out great, because a couple, I would say probably 4 of those people I still talk to consistently, and one of them, Johnny, is in my wedding party. He's unfortunately not able to fly out for it, but he's one of my best friends, and that relationship has been a wellspring of accountability for me personally. And because I physically obeyed God by going to a certain place, I met someone who then has spiritually pushed and motivated me my entire adult life. So, spiritual, physical. Taylor cried too at college. Katie followed up her question with this question. How does that help us obey? So Katie had asked physical setting up the spiritual. So how does that help us obey when we physically lead the spiritual? Sometimes we are nervous about what God asks us to do. And when we physically, and I'm going to simplify this as best I can. I'm going to use the prayer example. If we know someone's in need and God's calling us to do something, but there's this gray area of us being nervous, scared, don't know what to say, but we physically move just towards it. Like, you know what? I'm going to get up and walk to this person and ask if I can pray for them. You may not have an idea of what you're going to say. You may not know what you're going to do, but the sheer fact that you put yourself in that position allows God to use you more in that moment than if you were to have just sat in your chair. And I think over time, the more you physically move towards what God is obeying you to do, whether it's serve at church, whether it's read your Bible, whether it's pray, the more and more you do it, the easier and easier it becomes to trust that whatever God gives you is something you want to obey. It's something you want to do. And I think that's how it helps, is just kind of like over time. But Noah asks, can you tell us more about not underestimating who will see God's glory? Ah, Noah, you broke the internet. That is a great question. I'm not being sarcastic at all. That's a great question. Can you tell us more about not underestimating who will see God's glory? Here's the deal, everybody. And this is when you guys are my disciples, the students following, and then you leaders are my disciples to a degree when it comes to this area of your leadership. And then Katie, we partners. So bang. But all you students listening, whether now or in the future, as my disciples, I think which is such an old, like I say you're my students, but if we just equate to what Acts 1:8 told us to do, is go out and make disciples. You guys are technically my disciples in that sense. But not underestimating God, who will see God's glory, is this. When you want to grow and when you want to do something of importance, and you've prepared yourself and you physically kind of put yourself in that position, meaning you show up to these calls, or when we were meeting, you would show up to the meetups Sunday or at night or whatever it may be. Or when you wear an Our City Church shirt, you guys are putting yourself in a position of influence. And here's the deal. I'm going to unveil something to you. I have a large platform of influence of people. Not just because I have a certain amount of followers on social media, not because of that, but because the things that I do get people to look at what I'm doing, and so they follow me and they kind of see what's happening. So point in case, Noah, I will get to I'm just going to do this and I'll get to your answer. Point in case, we did these pop-up graduations. Taylor and I had an idea and we got people on board and we did it, and then it got news coverage, so more people saw it, and then we reposted the news coverage, so even more people saw it. And what you guys didn't see is behind the scenes on Facebook and Instagram and text, I got a lot of people saying, that's dope, that's awesome, that's so cool that you care, blah, blah, blah. And I always point back to the team and us just doing what we feel called to do. But because we did this thing and someone put it for hundreds of thousands of other people to see, there are people in Los Angeles who now, or Southern California, who saw us do a graduation for Riley, know that I'm Pastor Kellen Morg, that's how they wrote it, and that we're at a church in Corona. There are people who saw the church doing good for students who everyone universally agrees kind of got bumped out of an important time in their life, which is promoting and graduating. And so I just thought Taylor and I were going to get a curtain and set it up and be like, all right, here's your graduation, on to the next one. But because we kind of obeyed what God had for us, which was being y'all's leader and letting you know that you that you're loved, that you're valued, that you're cared about, and that you belong, because we're following the vision that we have for you guys, we were able to have hundreds of thousands of people see the church, not just Kellen. It could have been anyone. Pastor Mike could have been interviewed. Taylor could have been interviewed. Wouldn't have happened, but Taylor could have been interviewed, as long as the world saw that there was a group of people loving, showing value, and letting students know that they belong. And so hopefully through that, people saw a church being God, being Jesus with skin on, as old pastors would say, and going out there and loving people. That's a big example. Small example is this, Noah. Because you go to our church, and because people know you go to our church, when you're out there swimming and people see you cussing out, now I'm not saying you do this, but if you were to cuss out your teammate, they're not going to get a really good depiction of who Christ is in that moment. But rather, if you're constantly encouraging, if you're constantly loving, and even throw out there, hey, I'm praying for you, or hey, can I pray for you? Oh, that stinks, man. I'm sorry that your time wasn't as good as you thought it was. Let me just be there for you. Let me encourage you. Let me work with you. That way, that friend that doesn't go to church, that may not even care about God, will see glimpses of who God is without even recognizing or knowing that it's God. So ultimately, is the more that we physically do what we know we're called to do, which is encourage and love and excuse me, bring people towards God, the more that we are the light of the world or light to the world, we cannot forget that people are watching and that God's presence is bigger than anything we can do or say. But the more that we are able to do and the more that we are able to say in the right way to people, people are able to see who God is. That was a long-winded question or an answer to your question. Hopefully, so to sum it up is this: every interaction you have with people should be a moment that you recognize as a moment that someone can see God by how you treat them and what you say to them. There we go. Some of these answers, guys, I'm even processing myself. That's a great question. Can you tell us more about why God calls us to action before we're ready? Great question. Why does God call us to action before we're ready? Well, here's the deal. Oh, that's awesome, Noah. I see you guys. There's a reason I love feedback, because honestly, Noah just putting that thumbs up saying thanks, that's something I'm to work on. That's awesome feedback to me, because like I said, I try to teach you guys and try to give you little tidbits. And Noah, at the end of the day, man, when you go to bed tonight or when you wake up in the morning, I hope that this is just the one thing that you can work on. I won't ask you guys to work on a billion things, but rather work on one or two things and proceed to get better and better and more attentive to those things. So Noah, I'm glad to be here. I was trying to see what your little picture was. I can't tell. Okay, so McKenna asked, can you tell us more about why God calls us to action before we are ready? So I'm going to take your question and I'm going to add one little word in there. I'm going to add one little word. Can you tell us more about why God calls us to action before we feel ready? There's a big difference in that. I don't think God will ever call us to action before we are ready. I don't think that he calls a kid to lead a household because the kid is not ready. And so that's why it's so backwards when parents, unfortunately, aren't the best parents in life sometimes, and kids have to take that mantle of leading a home, and they miss out on so many things. And so I do want to say that. So like, that's why kids aren't in charge of the households, the adults are, because the adults, at whatever time they had a kid, whether it was intentional or unintentional, at that moment, they had a responsibility, and some have to work up to it, but some of them were ready and like, let's plan to do this. But either way, God doesn't move you to do something unless he knows that you're ready. And the difference between us feeling ready and him knowing ready is, ready for this? He's God. He wins every time. God's call on our life and God's push of us will always trump how we feel in moment. It just will. Yeah, and people also say God will never give you more than you can handle. But Katie says, and I agree, it's not quite true. God will never give us more than we can handle with his help. Meaning, whatever God gives you, you can handle it if you trust that God is going to help you through it. If God said, which I don't think so, and once again, I will never speak for God unless it's the word and I know it's an irrefutable truth. So I would never go up there and be like God said, because I don't feel like I'm a prophet that gets things right now to be like, blah, blah, blah. But I do believe the Holy Spirit leads me. So there's a couple things. I do believe the Holy Spirit leads me, but I'll never say God claims this right now unless I know it's the irrefutable truth of the word. So let's just get that on air. Hypothetical. If God said, hey, I need you to run 15,000 miles. This is just, I'm being absurd. 15,000 miles. And you're like, I can't do that. But God's like, no. You've been running marathons your whole life, and you trust me, and I know that you can do it. So go run 15,000 miles. We can keep, I'm going to read what Katie said in just a second because it looks really good. We can get out there and half butt it and be like, well, I'm going to walk little. But I don't think God will ever call us to do something so big like that. That's a stupid analogy. Scrap it. Church, here we go. Way better example. Us starting this church. Way better example. Us starting this church. You guys know my story, and I will say this till the cows come home. I did not want to plant a church. Remember that college I talked to you guys about? Didn't want to plant a church. Pastor Chris called me and said, hey, we're doing this thing. I prayed about it. Legitimate. I didn't just say, yes, let's do it. I prayed about it. Then, as I was praying, here's the deal, people. You talk to God, God's going to talk back. Maybe not audibly, but he will move. He will give you an answer in his timing. He said, you need to do this. I said, I don't want to because I don't want to do it. I just don't feel ready to do that. He's like, no, you're going to do it. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I started to do it. And here we are. I'm on YouTube talking to you guys, still under the banner of this whole next gen thing, which is way bigger than I thought. But I've been stressed out at times about it. And I've been elated about certain things that we've been doing. Kids ministry, you guys see me do all the kids ministry stuff with my team. It's awesome. And we're trying to get better at the youth thing. So you guys, just thank you for being the core team that sticks through. But that's the prime example of McKenna. I did not feel ready to be your youth pastor and kids pastor and adult ministries pastor. I think that's my role. Not sure yet, but it's next generation. I didn't feel ready to do all that. But like what Katie was saying, God prepared me for years in youth ministry and kids ministry and working with young people to the point where when I'm with that was so Pastor Chris, or a point where I'm with people like Pastor Mike and Pastor Chris and Pastor Jesse, who I 100% trust, and I get people in my purview like Jesse Santangelo and Taylor, who I love those two, and now they're a part of my team, but also on staff. When I get all these people together, it started to work because I didn't feel ready, but it's not the I show, it's the church show. Or not even church show, it's the God, I don't even say show because that's a bad competition. It's God's reality, and we are the church that's leading it. So here's the deal. If I didn't say yes, Santangelo wouldn't have had this opportunity really to be a part of youth. Taylor would not be so good at things that she didn't realize she was really good at doing. And on top of that, all the people leading in kids ministry who felt a calling to do it, but didn't not have a place of doing it. Like Margie Londigan, if you guys know anything about Margie, she loves kids. And all I did was ask her was, hey, can you help prep preschool stuff? Every single week for the last year and a half, she has been preparing, almost 2 years has been preparing preschool curriculum, and it fills her purpose tank. She's drawing even closer to God because of it. And our preschool ministry is baller. So with that said, because I didn't feel ready, I still obeyed and trusted, and that's how we have what we have. That was you guys are asking great questions, and thank you for listening as I get to a point. Like my brain has to run for a bit. But I'm going to read what Katie wrote because it's good stuff. She said, people also say God will never give you more than you can handle, but I think that's not quite true. God will never give us more than we can handle with his help. Even when we don't feel ready or when we don't think we're ready, he's going to walk us through whatever he's asking us, which goes back to that saying, God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the call. He gives you what you need. You just got to say yes. And I know I've already probably said this, but stinking Moses, go read Exodus. You know, they're really Leviticus and Deuteronomy. Jump to Deuteronomy. Go read about Moses. I know you guys know the story. I don't want to say it all again, but I'm going to say it really quick. Was supposed to actually be dead. Mom puts him down the river, trusts God, gets picked up by the queen's daughter, someone, whatever, picks him up. He becomes royalty, lives there, murders someone, leaves, jets. God calls him by a bush to do more, goes back, doesn't feel ready? Does it feel equipped? He had resources where he knew the Pharaoh and he knew the land and he knew his people. He got that for him. But as soon as he left Egypt, he didn't feel ready and he wasn't super equipped. But here's the deal. God gave him wisdom. God helped him. He didn't listen to God from time to time, but that's okay because he had people that had his back. Some people who had his back. It's just God equipped Moses to be ready to do what he was called to do. And same thing with you guys. Same thing with you guys. God will equip you. He will give you the tools. Going back to Avatar. See, Aang. I'm just kidding. No, I'm like, that was dumb. Are there any more questions? Did I skip one? Oh, I did. Oh, Gigi. There you go. Okay. My apologies. I see that, Gigi. Can you tell us more about how God will equip us for something he calls to do? Perfect. Great question. That's a great segue. I'm actually glad I answered that and then pop back up there. So let me read it again. Can you tell us more about how God will equip us for something he calls us to? Okay. God will equip you. That's a good question. Let me think about it for a second. I have nothing in my mouth. I don't know why I'm doing that. Hey Siri. I'm kidding. So how will God equip us? I'll start very basic, and then I know as I talk, my brain will answer. I'm not the best at panels because I don't think the quickest on my feet. I think of quick things, but I don't think the quickest on my feet. So very basics. Knowing the basic principles, knowing the basic truths. Oh, thanks, Katie. Thanks, babe. So I'm marrying you in 5 days. That's creepy and weird. Okay. Yes, Katie, that's awesome answer. In past experiences with people. My brain is all over the place. Read the chat real quick while I focus my brain. Read the chat. The chat's talking. If you guys are watching this later, I'll just read what they're saying because this is why I have a team. See, it goes back to that whole thing of me having a team. Great question. You think I'd have this stuff geared up? Not right now. That's what faith is. Trusting is something without fully knowing. Obedience and faith is trusting God. I can't wait, man. I can't wait till Katie. She's so much smarter than me. Taylor I don't have a full answer for that question, Gigi, but I will say I think sometimes it's not so much that he gets us ready. It's that we're already ready and we just don't know it. And then Katie says, God brings people into our lives to help us through different circumstances. Jesse encouraged my eyebrow game. Katie said good to that. And then Taylor said, for example, the job I have right now is all social media stuff, which I've never done before. But as I got kind of thrown into it, I realized there's a lot of stuff I actually did know and didn't even realize I knew. There was a skill set and level of knowledge in me that I didn't even know was there. And then Katie says, I'm just reading the comments, but this is really good. Then Katie says, I think it's about being obedient in the little things and seeing God being faithful, which helps us to be obedient and faithful in the big things. And Juliet, I'm very smart. Thank you. Choose a more positive answer. Oh, you're right. Positive. Juliet, you got my back. Boom. The ladies in my life. My go-to at work. My number one and always, Katie. Look at this. Great answers. Great answers. The equipping, I think, simply comes by you being you interacting with people, you watching. And guys, I'm going to tell everyone here listening, everyone watching, if you have someone that's older than you, that you look up to, not physically. Don't make that joke. Oh, look up to Kellen. I know you do. I'm tall. Just kidding. That's weird. But like, if you have someone in your life that you look up to, mom, dad, pastor, one of the leaders here, which you totally should, observe. One thing that I was very good at doing growing up was observing people that meant something to me. Point case, Pastor Chris. Sometimes I even talk like him when I'm speaking. I've looked up to him. I've noticed, I've paid attention to. It wasn't unintentionally. There's some things I took from him that I just, whatever. My brother, I look at him and I learn relationships. There's a reason that this relationship with Katie and I is dope. I've seen other people's relationships who were dope, and I tried my best in my style to make sure the principles of why they were dope were led by me. And Katie, I can speak for her on her end. She's done the same thing, which means we bring this dopeness together. And then there's things I've seen my friends do that sucked. And I told myself I would never do. That's a terrible way of talking or doing or presenting, so I didn't do it. From all that, I became equipped in a relationship before I was in it because I was observing. So the more you guys pay attention to, and not just pay attention to, but apply. So if you notice Taylor or Haley or Erica or Shanda or Miranda are doing, you ladies, they're doing awesome stuff and speaking. Like, Shanda's the most encouraging, praying person I know. If you just begin to be a little protege, and if you're like, man, I love how Shanda will pray on the spot, I'm going to try doing it. The more you do that, you won't become Shanda, but rather you will take something that is an amazing tool and put it in your tool chest, so that when you're called to go out and build the kingdom, you'll know how to do that thing. Yeah, Katie, I agree. It goes back to the physical leading the spiritual. If we build a consistent rhythm of prayer and reading and serving and all those things, it prepares our heart. And heart is everything, guys. If your heart isn't for people, it's going to be very hard to lead them and love them. If your heart is for people, and you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, what do you know how to do? Do you know how to talk to people to a degree? Not like from a platform to hundreds, but just to a person. Do you know how to relate? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? Start there and then build relationship. See, you guys, just read what Katie's writing and you'll see why I'm really excited to have her to be a part of my team in my life. It's a solo team right now. And then when she comes in, we will be a duo team. We could play tennis or 2-on-2 basketball. Or any other sport that requires just two people. But no, what she says is exactly right. Because of those practices that you learn, fancy term, spiritual discipline, to teach us how to focus on God and put him first above ourselves. That's what obedience is, choosing God's way above our own. I don't know how to play tennis, but I know you can do doubles in tennis. Mario Tennis for the GameCube, great game. So from all you students, I need you guys to write in the comments, what's helping? Is this helping? Is this good? Before any leader answers anything else. Because you guys, Katie's speaking all the fire. And if you haven't screenshotted or take a picture of what she's saying in the chat, you're missing out. I need a screen. What am I doing? I'm going to screenshot it. I'm sitting here saying you guys should do it. I need to do it. I'm doing it right now. If you don't believe me, watch my story. Let's see. Babe, you're saying so many good things. Okay, boom, starting with there. Boom. Going down. Yeah. Boom. Going down some more. Boom. We're going to go down some more. Boom. Babe, you're so smart. I'm so excited to marry you. It's going to be awesome. I think Gigi, yes, I agree. I agree. Very helpful. I'm glad that you wrote them down. And honestly, Gigi, if I can speak to you while everyone's listening, the fact that you are taking note in your writing, and I know you're smart because I know you had really good grades because I know you were just a smart individual. The more you write it down and you reference it, meaning whenever you get to a point where you're like, I don't feel equipped and ready, go back to these notes, be encouraged, be inspired to then keep going because all of you, all the Clack girls and Juliet and Gigi and McKenna and Noah and all whoever else is on, and then all the leaders. Like you guys have what you need. You have the tool belt or toolbox, whatever, to build God's kingdom. You have it there, but maybe you see the screwdriver and you know what it does, just you've never actually screwed anything in, or you see the hammer and you understand the principle of it, but you've not actually done it. Praying, Bible, speaking words of encouragement, all that stuff happens when you develop it when you begin to use it. So that's my encouragement to you guys. You guys have it there. It's in your tool. And there's some things that aren't yet. And so you just have to keep your tool chest open. Now it's a chest. It's an analogy is going off the rails, but now you have your tool shed open and you're ready to put bigger and more pieces of equipment in there. But all you have to do is be willing to know what those things are and to trust that God will prepare the way for you. And some of the bigger, like the riding lawnmower, may be public speaking for some of you guys. It's a big deal. It's a big piece of equipment that you're going to take. It's going to take for a while for you to get it. For me, I started very early with a push mower, and I just liked public speaking. This analogy is going all over the place, but I will fine tune it, and you will maybe like it. So I think that's all the time we have, guys. About 50 minutes in. I just want to hear from you guys. Just type in the chat what you guys got out of tonight. I think it's always good to do follow-up. And we didn't do Zoom this last week, so shed, belt, bin, chest. It's all this. Thank you, Gigi. You're gold star for Gigi. Gold star. Thanks, Tay. Katie asking me questions when it's time to wrap up. I'm going to read it. Yes, we learn from people. You learn your own life and chooses to think back to how God has used you in the past. Oh, she has a question to you guys. Okay. Think back to see how God has used you in the past. Am I saying that right? Used you in the past, and what was it like when you chose to obey? Good follow. We're leaving you guys with that question. But yeah, love you guys. I'm gonna hop off here because I haven't had dinner yet. It's almost 8 o'clock. Should probably eat something. Had my first cup of water an hour ago. That's fun. You guys are awesome, and join us next week. And I know that it's gonna be different because it won't be live, so I won't be interacting with the comments through the message, but you guys will still be able to talk to one another in the chat and all that stuff. But I know someone feed me, and I have leftovers. I'll just cook that. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your questions, babe. I can't wait for you to show the world how awesome you are. Well, we already do that, but continue to show the world with me in the back going, you're awesome. So love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.